Man, yeah, like it was actually insane watching on Saturday. I kind of watched it in real time. I tried to watch it in real time. I fell asleep because the event was so long. I literally got to the end of the main event and then like fell asleep. And I was like, oh, I didn't get to see Cody in the Rock segment. Like, I wonder what happened. Never in a million years thinking what happened, what was I was gonna see. I was like watching it, like drinking coffee at like 8 in the morning as my wife's in the background just doing stuff in the kitchen, and I'm just like, oh, I don't think I've ever freaked out so badly so early in the morning. And she's like, What are you watching? I was just like,
Man,
craziest thing ever.
dude, I've watched it like 5 times now. I just made my wife watch it right now.
I sent you a
She's
gif
like,
of it today. I looked
yeah,
very far for it.
man, just so amazing. Holy, what a turn. What? And I look at me complaining like last week, oh, there's no build to Elimination Chamber, nothing to look forward to. And then, damn, I wish I bought a plane ticket to Toronto and actually went to that show.
I know. I kind of regret not going too, but it's so expensive. Don't forget the
Yeah,
overnight as well and everything. But
of course.
I don't think that anything you said wasn't true. And that'll be talked about it enough. But I
Yeah.
think that, the whatever it is from the beginning of the build to the Rumble. So like let's call it from like let's in this case from Jan 6 onward after the first Raw through to Elimination Chamber on March 1st was like awful television and awful story building, I think, just generally speaking. But man, like we have to mostly talk about Elimination Chamber here. What a wild, for me it was absolutely perfect because I turned it on at the exact right time for me. I had just absolutely no interest in any of the women's wrestling. And so when I turned it on, both the main event was already, or sorry, the women's chamber was over and the tag match was also over. And I was just set up for Cody, Sammy, or sorry, Sammy, Kevin, men's chamber, Rock, Cody. It was awesome.
So good, so good. And I honestly, we tend to like nitpick things and pull things apart and think of like ways they could make changes and do it better. I'm not going to do any of that. I think that the execution of that Cena heel turn was as good as live wrestling could be. The expression, the facial expression. Cena has been like so happy in all these segments that he's done, and even in his matches, smiling. Even the CM Punk showdown, smiling. And then Cody coming out, smiling. And then as soon as that heel turn happens, there's no more smiling Cena. He's got the best heel face of all time. Where did that face come from? I've never seen that Cena before.
It also, everything makes sense now too. So like clearly they were
Why
just
did he
like,
get a pass? Why did he
yeah.
get into the Elimination Chamber? It's all like coming together.
And it also made sense why they put no story behind it because they were just riding the waves of his general popularity, which was okay to do with someone like him versus any other potential wrestler that needs that regularly recurring storyline to keep them relevant. He was just relevant enough. And
So
it's so wild that it's like, it makes you wonder, like, if it like took off enough, is he really done? Like, what if this somehow, like The Rock and Cena are somehow like, we're able to form the new modern version of the NWO? Is Cena really going to disappear? Because that's what it sort of feels like.
I don't know. I wonder if he is retiring now.
Only if the final boss says again.
I guess so. I guess so, right? Like that's the deal he's made. Maybe that's a part of this whole thing. Maybe that's the deal he's made. But you know what's really interesting is for years as wrestling fans, we were conditioned to storylines going nowhere. And when things didn't make sense, we're just like, oh, that just doesn't make sense. But now, with great storytelling like this, we're going to be conditioned to think more, be like, there's something behind this decision. Why does Cena get a pass in the Elimination Chamber? A couple of weeks ago, we're just chalking it up to like, stardom, it being Cena. But now there's a reason. So now when things like that happen, there could potentially be a reason for it, which is kind of cool as a wrestling fan. So even if things don't make sense at the time, there might actually be something happening in the background that we don't know about.
Yeah, I think that he just wasn't available, and they tied that together. But I know
Maybe.
like I know
Yeah, but
exactly
like,
what you mean. Like everything is kind of like out there,
mhm.
which it leaves you constantly like wondering like what's going on. Like let's play a little game here quickly. You were saying the same thing, you were just mentioning that everything has a reason. I mean, where's Roman? Is Roman actually hurt? Right? Because like he just took a couple of curb stomps and now all of a sudden he can't appear for a month? Or what else could be at play there? Is Roman working with Seth and he's not actually hurt and he's just waiting for the right time to come back? Like there's something doesn't make sense there to me. That all of a sudden Seth has put Roman out of action and we don't hear from him
Yeah,
or Heyman or
this?
anything. It just like if it was normal, if he was really hurt, wouldn't Heyman have like come out or there's something stinks about it.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see Roman soon. I just don't know where he fits into all of this.
Imagine he joined Rock and Cena. I feel like, oh my God, this
That
is
would be,
unstoppable. With Heyman?
yeah, that
No,
would be
that can't
such too
happen.
powerful, too
Yeah, I
powerful.
agree. Way too powerful.
But oh yeah, man, I'm excited to be a wrestling fan right now. I think, and you know what's cool is everybody's talking about this. It's everywhere.
Of course.
Like
It's the
news.
biggest moment since Punk came back at Survivor Series 2023. When he
Yeah,
came
but it's
back, that just
also,
like blew up wrestling. This just blew up wrestling again.
yeah, it's cool having moments like that so close together.
These are the moments, these sorts of moments are the moments that I come back to and watch over and over and over and over again, especially like late on a Saturday if I've had like 8 beers. I'll be like, well, let's watch this, and I'll put it on, and everyone else will be like, what are you watching? And I do like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did without the beers today with my wife at lunch.
Well, I would hope so on a Thursday at lunch.
Yeah, do you wanna talk about your day? No. You gotta. Have you watched the John Cena thing yet?
It's must watch TV. But
Yeah,
honestly, like I was very satisfied. Even I thought that the Owens and Sammy match was awesome, super crazy. Like I loved everything about it. Like I loved the way that the lights were set. I loved the way that there was no
ref
like
didn't
the
wear.
turnbuckles, all of it, and like, how hardcore it was, and just like how deplorable Kevin was and the win. I mean, they're really sort of writing off Sammy, which makes you wonder what his storyline is going to be, if any. And then the return of Randy, which was great. Like, I really want to see Randy versus KO. That's like a feud like 6 months in the making.
Yeah,
And the men's chamber was great too.
yeah. Actually, I was quite surprised by it. Unfortunately, I didn't watch the Kevin Sammy match, but now
Oh, you
you're
haven't
making me
seen it?
want to. Yeah,
Yeah, you should go back and watch it. It's worth it. You're not going to see a match like that on.
okay. The Elimination Chamber match I thought was really good too, and you can start to see where certain feuds are going towards WrestleMania.
You think you could see where certain views are going.
That's
And
true.
we'll get into Raw, which is just keeping me super perplexed. I find myself just like desperately craving to know. Like maybe that's what's making me keep watching, which is a clever strategy, but it's just like I really want to know what the feuds are. And it's so hard to tell. We'll talk about it a little bit more, but I was just like, well, it's gonna be, I guess, Punk and Logan and Seth and Roman. But now Logan's fighting AJ
Wait,
next week.
possibly.
And
AJ's calling him out next week.
is that what it is? It's a call out. Okay.
Yeah, so maybe it could build to something, but it could be a Raw main event in a couple of weeks. Who knows, right?
Raw next week looks sick. Way better than this week's show.
Man, yeah, the cage match. I think I'm actually kind of excited for that.
I'm super excited.
I'm gonna pause for 1 second. Yeah, so Raw next week. Looks like they're building that Seth versus CM Punk cage match. I was expecting them to do something at WrestleMania after all this.
I'm so glad they're not.
Yes, I was a little disappointed in that, but I'm actually really excited for next week's cage match.
Yeah, well, me too. Because I think it's just all leading to something like something is amiss. That
Maybe
cage
this
match
is where Roman comes in.
I think Roman's coming in and partnering with Seth. Like I'm telling you, I can feel it. I don't know why, but there's something about it that makes me think that. And then I don't know what direction they're gonna go. Is it like does Punk have like, and maybe it's a tag match? Like, is there someone that he can find that's going to come and like help him? I don't know, but like something doesn't make sense. And also that show is in desperate need of like, I don't even know what to call it, a shock. Like it's been terrible the last couple of weeks.
It looks like SmackDown's been the better show again,
which is strange. Out of nowhere, all of a sudden SmackDown's great.
Yeah, like it just seems like they have more going on there, that at least stuff that we're missing anyways.
I assume Cena will be on SmackDown this week, or I don't know about Rock. They'll have some sort of explanation, or at the very least, they'll say they'll be here next week.
Well, I think Cody's on SmackDown this week.
I assume.
Then they said he's going to have some announcement or something. I don't know when. Who knows what Cena's schedule and The Rock's schedule is actually like, right? So how much we're actually going to see of them.
Speaking of the announcement, sorry, what did you think about Cody's F-bomb? That's like the very first time ever someone said a planned F-bomb into the mic that's been like repeated. The F-bomb's on their YouTube channel. Obviously, I'm 18 and I have an adult account, but like I was very shocked by it.
It's on their YouTube channels. I think it's probably still on Netflix. It was weird that I think they were beeping things out throughout the show, the crowd chants and stuff, and then they let that fly.
Really? They were beeping out crowd chants on Netflix? I didn't notice that.
That's what I've heard. Maybe they do it in other countries, and not necessarily Canada. But yeah, I thought it was great. Unexpected. It's a good use of it, you know? It's so rare.
You got to find the right moments and to give it meaning.
That's the perfect time that they gave it meaning. That was like, I don't know, just the awesome delivery as well.
Yeah, it was good. But you know what wasn't good timing and also super out of place and I hated like for the second time is this Travis Scott guy. What is he like? Why does he keep coming out? I don't understand. What does he have to do with anything? He's making The Rock seem more famous. And didn't he just come out with Jey Uso?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did a few weeks ago.
So he's a heel, he's face, he just likes to be on TV.
Yeah, okay. This is kind of weird for me because I'm actually friends with Travis Scott. No, I'm kidding. I'm not friends with Travis Scott.
We all knew you were kidding. You haven't met Harrison Ford?
I have. I hated it when I saw him, like in this whole scene and everything. I was like, this moment is ruined by this guy. Who is this guy to come out and be part of like arguably the biggest moment in recent wrestling history? Why is he here?
Just reach.
But did they need that reach? They're getting so many plays. Like if Travis Scott wasn't there, pull him out. And you have this clip of Cena turning heel, it's still gonna get 500 million views.
What if they replace Travis Scott with like Susan Sarandon? They put anybody famous in there.
You could have just nobody there. No celebrity. I think it gets the same amount of views. All the headlines are talking about Cena turning heel. They're not talking about Travis Scott helping beat down Cody Rhodes.
Okay, so let's go back and play the game that we were mentioning before. So maybe it's because I have this feeling. Maybe it's because he's out there because it's providing this like celebrity like level to The Rock and John Cena to make them more dislikable. Like we're so like this is like so maybe they'll be like maybe Bad Bunny. He's usually a good guy, but as an example, maybe he would like show up and be with them because like I'm The Rock, I'm famous, I'm cool. Cena is going to be like, I didn't understand, why you were like this, Rock, and we fought 10 years ago, but now I do, and I've seen the light, and like we're like I don't know what they'd call themselves, but we're like the Hollywood crew, and maybe that honest, like, I have so much on my mind, so there's one thing to think about, but like this turn actually like made me, I'm wondering if Cena's going to win now, because I like
how
Cody
winning.
I know, and then The Rock can kind of come in and out and basically be like his manager throughout the year, show up for big matches, and if they're always weaving in like these celebrities, kind of to like create a separation from them, like they're a step above. Like they are having dinner with Ari Emanuel and Seth Rollins and whoever are on the tour bus to the next house show.
I love it. I honestly, I don't see how Cena could lose now. And with the Travis Scott thing, I keep flip-flopping on if I like it or don't like it. I don't know.
Well, to be
Maybe
clear, I
there's
don't like it. I just mean I'm trying to like what you're saying before.
justify it.
You're saying, is there any reason for it? Like, what's the underlying, like, what could we find out? The only thing I can think of is that it's just to like solidify the sort of like idea that they're a stable and that there are celebrities that want to be around them because they're so popular and cool, even though the WWE universe hates them, but they're bigger than the WWE universe. And
I
their
hope there's a reason
storyline.
behind it. I hope there's a reason behind it, and it's not just let's bring in this celebrity to help this segment get more views from a different audience, because it really just didn't need that.
Agreed.
But
It,
time will tell. Like, remember, I don't know, remember if you look at old WCW things, you're looking at those clips, and you see like Dennis Rodman in there. It's kind of cool. You see Mike Tyson in the Attitude Era stuff, like mixing in.
Rodman had a match.
Yeah, Rodman had a match. Maybe Travis Scott will have a match. He's a huge
Jay
fan.
Leno did, so I mean, I think he
Yeah,
can.
I think, yeah. Honestly, there's a lot of Drew Carey was in the Royal Rumble. I think,
Yeah, if he didn't even take a move.
yeah, no, that's fair. He jumped over the top rope by himself, as anybody would have with that version of Kane. Yeah, man, yeah, well, time will tell if Travis Scott was a good choice to have in there. I don't think he detracted too much from like, a regular person tuning in. I don't think they would care too much if he was there or not there.
Yeah.
Did he
Yeah.
hurt Cody? Did he actually hit Cody in the face? It looked like it looked like when he was pushing Cody up when John Cena had the tie around his neck. I noticed John Cena went against Travis Scott and just pushed Cody back down. I feel like that was to protect Cody because Travis Scott was doing something kind of stupid that was stretching Cody a little bit. And
Yeah.
Cena's like, fuck you, man, just put him down. Like,
I think it also was like ruining the shot, maybe.
yeah, thank goodness like Cena is such a vet and has the wherewithal to just, step in and still make things look good, even though someone else is completely dropping the ball. And then it looked like when he like slapped him on the ground that he gave him like a pretty stiff slap. Man, I don't like, I know he's like super famous and stuff. I hope people didn't let that just fly in the back.
Well,
Cody,
it
I
had to
hope
have been planned. I mean, he must have told him to give him a stiff slap.
Yeah, maybe. If it was planned, great. If it wasn't, he gave him a stiff slap. I don't know. It's me just like maybe as a fan, just not wanting a celebrity to come in and think that they can do whatever they want in the wrestling business, even as a fan. I don't know.
I particularly didn't notice that the slap may have been stiff.
Maybe rewatch it.
I've already watched it so many times. Like, I'm guaranteed to rewatch it.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
like
Pay
before the
attention
end
to
of
that
the week.
spot.
It's just a matter of when. I rewatched it today. Not the whole thing. Like the whole segment's a lot because the one they posted, you got to watch
entrances.
Cody's entrance, and then you got to watch The Rock's entrance, and then there's a
Yeah.
lot of like aftermath and Michael Cole and Pat McAfee freaking out. What's all this? I didn't really hear it. I just read about it. All this business about McAfee chirping Canadians and then apologizing. Did you see any of this?
I don't think he apologized, but the Canadians are booing the national anthem. He said something about Canada being a terrible country or something. He got mad. People are booing the national anthem.
Traditionally, we cheer the national anthem while they boo it, but I guess we've officially had it now.
Well, it's because of the trade war stuff going on right now. So but he basically said, I get it. You're passionate about your country.
He said this on the air?
Yeah, he's like, you booed our national anthem. I called you stupid. Let's shake hands and move on. I think that people are probably like tweeting him hate messages and stuff, and he's kind of just wants to put it to rest now.
Yeah. He said something like, that's the craziest thing that's ever been said in the history of saying things. After
when he dropped the F-bomb?
When Cody said, drop the F-bomb to The Rock.
Yeah.
So, and Michael Cole, too. Like, Michael Cole is actually, like, now without Vince, like, I'm starting to come around to him. He's, like, funny. Like, just, like, the way he's kind of like a I don't know the right wording, a satire, or he's like satirical in a sense. He's like like a spoof of himself. And then the way he's just like, is this how you want to finish your career, John? But it's like, I can't take him seriously, but he's been doing it for so long that it just like kind of works. And like listening to him kind of freak out now, like I actually like it. Whereas in the past, I was just like, this is insanely annoying.
Fair enough. Man. Well, all right. Well, we talked about Elimination Chamber. Anything else you want to touch on there?
I had something, but I lost it. I hope it comes back to me. Overall, I was very happy with the Chamber, especially after a series of disappointing pay-per-views, especially the ending. It's one of those like live forever moments, which is super great. I'll never forget watching it. Wish I still lived in Toronto so I could have been there for it. And I'm very excited to see where things go. And I really hope that they don't ruin it and that they have a really solid plan between now and then that everybody's on board with and there's no weird kind of nonsense. And we seem to be back with The Rock as the final boss again after the flip-flopping. And I think it's time to put that flip-flopping in the past and just move forward and just be like, that was a mistake. And this is what we're doing now. And like the final boss is back. And and I guess kind of to what you were saying about like Travis Scott and like that's what I hated that first episode on Netflix so bad. Like, don't disrespect the fans that got you here by trying to appeal to a larger audience by disrespecting the stories. This doesn't work. Like, and so we'll see what they do moving forward. But that was one of the most exciting pay-per-views in modern time.
So do you think that the Rock segment or this whole storyline was last minute still? I know you were saying that maybe this...
I do, yeah.
Even the Cena heel turn, do you think this was last minute or do you think they knew going into this?
No, I think it was too. I think that I just had to take a guess. I think that The Rock, and by last minute, I don't know when that is. Like, I think The Rock decided sometime after January 6th, because like what happened was he was getting all these negative reviews and stuff online or negative feedback because like people were like, he's not going to participate in WrestleMania and all that. And it seems like he's not going to wrestle unless they're going to do like a tag match the night before or something, like, which also would be crazy. What if they did like like they did last year, but they did a tag match?
Cena and The Rock?
Cena and The Rock versus Cody and Stone Cold? Like, anything could happen. Like, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I feel like Stone Cold's gonna get involved because everyone was expecting it last year. Now The Rock is back, and it's just like even though he did that ridiculous heel turn with Vince, all that in the rearview mirror, like Stone Cold is the one sort of guy that Cody could depend on.
Yeah, I wonder. They're probably, that would be really cool to bring Stone Cold back. They would really have to back up the Brinks truck to his house.
They don't seem to mind doing it for other people.
Yeah, exactly. I think that he wants to stay private. I think he's happy with his life and not being as recognized in public. But I mean, if you pay a man enough money, he'll do anything, right?
He's so recognizable. There's no one new. Maybe not new people, but like everyone knows. Even my parents know who Stone Cold Steve Austin is. Like everybody knows who Stone Cold Steve Austin is.
Yeah, but like
he's like
maybe
Hulk
people
Hogan.
Our age and above, but maybe like kids, teens, young.
I don't know, man.
Don't really
Stone
know.
Cold is so famous. Like you could say that about like Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels or The Undertaker, and I'd be like, yeah, sure. But I mean, Stone Cold. He's pretty
There's
big.
memes of him everywhere, I guess. Yeah, well, again, maybe because he does live in like a remote area of Nevada, and maybe he isn't getting as much attention as he used to. Maybe he just, who knows? I want him back. I'm just thinking of reasons he might not come back. I really hope he comes back. I just love seeing Stone Cold. I just want to see a stunner here and there.
Same. I just want there to be good TV leading up to the event, and it's fine with the other stuff that's in there that can be fast forwarded through. And like even now, it's just like I kind of want to watch SmackDown. Like we'll have to see what they advertise for. But now we're getting into this advertised area. Like you have to advertise a good show, and if you're just going to advertise to me 2 women's titles match and a tag title match as if that's some sort of super card, all 3 of those make me not want to watch the show at all. But if it's like AJ Logan segment, it's going to happen next week. And then also going to be, who is Jey Uso involved with next week? He's up to something next week that looked interesting. And then the main event too. It's just like, I have to see this. And I also am just like thinking Roman's going to come back, especially if Cena, Cody, and Rock are on SmackDown. Anyway, point being, I'm really hopeful for some interesting television leading up to the show, not just to enjoy it, but for us to talk about, which I think is a good transition into watching Raw last night, which I did. I watched a decent amount of it. I also did a decent amount of fast forwarding. Also, similarly to the Elimination Chamber, although this one was in reverse, so last night worked really well for me. All of the good segments were in like the first hour. And then the rest of the show was totally skippable. And I just will say one thing because I did watch it and then we can go through it. But I can't believe what the main event was and what they did with it. And they literally, like one of the very few women wrestlers that I like and care about and cheer for, lost a title to someone I basically have never heard of, don't know what her gimmick is, have no idea why or what's going on. Again, just keeping us completely all over the place. So now Io Sky versus Bianca Belair, which is a totally skippable match, where it could have been Rhea in that spot, which makes it a great match to actually watch. It's super confusing last-minute decision, and I'm glad I didn't watch it because I would have been pissed.
There's something more there. It's going to be a triple threat or something like that.
Or Rhea versus Dom. Could they do a man versus a woman? That'd be sick. But I guess that feud's over.
But I feel like they planted a seed for a Bianca Rhea match there, or Rhea's involvement somehow in that whole storyline. So I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards somehow this is going to work out to be a triple threat match at Mania.
Well, what happened to rematches? Like all of a sudden now on the WWE website, it's just announced that it's Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. It's just like, she doesn't get a rematch?
Yeah, don't you have like a rematch? Like, isn't that part of the story is that a champion has a rematch clause?
Seemingly now only when they want. Roman never got a rematch against Cody.
Yeah, interesting. I actually didn't like the rematch clause anyways. Because, I don't know, there's some matches where, you know, the heel might kind of skate by and win the championship. And then if they do it twice, you know, if the heel beats the babyface twice, then it just like, I don't know, it takes away from the babyface. And the same thing for like, I don't know, vice versa.
Well, it works if you're not switching titles so often. Like back in the Attitude Era when there's a new champion every month, it was out of control. And I was just like, oh, I get a rematch at the next pay-per-view. Well, then they would change the title. And the titles change like once a week.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's talk about the opening segment.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's do it. Best part of the show.
Punk's promo was fire. He is like back, man. That was an amazing promo that he delivered.
I wrote that exact thing. I wrote, love Punk's energy. Feels like old Punk is back.
Yeah, man. Just doing everything differently, just coming out with a purpose. Didn't even go in the ring to do the
Wayne, you bald fraud.
And just like, who do you want me to talk about first? Like kind of going ad lib with the crowd there, and then just jumping into Rock and Cena, and then getting to Seth. What was the Cena when he was cutting the promo on Cena? Gosh, and he talked about Cena winning. You're going to make a wish that I never did, or something like that. Just like,
he was really, really good. He, at one point he said, about the Raw, he goes, Mr. Midlife Crisis, walk in when you feel like it because you think you're a bigger star and pretend you care about this business. Like, what makes Punk's promos good, and he obviously has special permission to do it, is he really walks the line of reality, or even what perceived reality online is. And that's what makes it so good, because you feel like what he's saying is true, above and beyond the actual. He tells you the truth of real life while protecting wrestling as being a true sport in the way that he does it. Right?
He also delivers it perfectly. He doesn't miss a word. He doesn't say the wrong thing. Everything is delivered as it should be. There is no misstep in his promo at all. And it was fast. He talked fast. It was somewhat improvised, it seemed. Obviously, he had bullet points that he was aiming to hit, but he didn't make any mistakes. And it's kind of normal when you're doing public speaking to make a mistake here and there. Say the wrong thing, or say an or something like that, but he doesn't do any of that.
He's the best promo they have, I think. I thought that he was way harder on The Rock than he was on Cena. And because I just think, generally speaking, in real life, like, he really likes John Cena and thinks he's much more legitimate, and does actually think The Rock is a phony. He said like, he was like, "Oh yeah, John, we can all see through you." I think he missed a really good opportunity to roast Cena's skin tone. He's so white. What is going on? The man has never seen a tanning bed. He looked translucent. I thought for sure Punk was going to go into that. But he did call him bald too, which is true.
Maybe it's a part of his heel thing, just being the whitest possible color you can. I think it's so interesting seeing him like this. I guess it's for the movies, right? He just can't have his normal wrestling tanning bed setup that he has always had when he's been wrestling,
I guess. So a couple of different things I noticed. So Punk swatted away that giant Prime bottle when he was all angry. Is that foreshadowing that it's going to be Punk versus Logan Paul? Like, Paul eliminated him from the the Rumble, and he eliminated Paul from the Elimination Chamber. They had that exchange on Raw. He's now disrespected the Prime bottle.
They're planting something there.
Or
maybe it's a paid.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are they also like maybe like setting up like just like a wild? No, they don't do Money in the Bank at WrestleMania anymore. That's its own pay-per-view. I was thinking, like, are they setting up this like a wild WrestleMania or Money in the Bank with all these main event guys? Because that would also be super crazy. They'd be like, you know what? Whoever wins it is cashing in at Mania. Like Roman, Seth, Punk. Be like this. That would be. It also would be crazy. And maybe they'll do something like that.
That would be epic. Maybe that, like, night 1 and then night 2, the winner faces the champion. I don't know.
And so another question, because I didn't notice this, I guess, when I was watching. Now, candidly, like I said, I was falling asleep at this point. But they kept talking about how, like, Seth screwed Punk. I thought that Punk tapped out to Cena.
No, man. So
he didn't
No, he didn't. He passed out. Punk eliminated.
Passed out. Okay, sorry.
Seth, right? And then Cena was going to put him in. I keep wanting to say the SFU, but that's a university out here. The
STFU.
STFU. And she's grabbing his leg. Punk turns around, kicks him. He's on, like, the bottom rope, hanging around. And then he goes to turn around. And when Seth's leaving the cage, he curb stomps Punk's head into the metal of the Elimination Chamber structure.
Okay. I forgot about that.
Punk, and then Cena gets the pin from there.
The pin or pass out?
Sorry, yeah, then he puts him in the hold and gets the pass out. Okay. So Punk never, like, tapped, he passed out.
God, I'm so sick of Seth. He's so annoying.
Yeah, well, I'll give it to him this week. He didn't have any, like, I'm so glad he didn't have some stupid flashy wardrobe thing, but I think that's because he had to brawl.
Yeah.
Actually, I like the whole brawl thing. I thought that was kind of cool because it felt different. It felt like more real. They kept, they used to do the brawl a lot and it was kind of boring, but this one was actually kind of entertaining. Spilled over into the backstage area throughout the show. It was still happening. And while I'm watching it, I'm like, oh man, this is like going to be what are they going to do? Hell in the Cell at WrestleMania, Seth and CM Punk. Great. Can't wait for that.
Every one of Punk's feuds has to end in Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, exactly. And then they announced a cage match for next week. And I was like, thank goodness. So this is over next week. But I'm actually looking forward to that cage match. I think it'll be really good. I'm a little worried, though, because, Punk beat Seth last time. Is Seth going to beat Punk this time?
I don't think so. Not unless someone comes back and costs him, like Roman. And also, we still don't know. Like, I assume the favor from Survivor Series is still going to come into play. So, like, what all is going on? Like, the Roman creates the most intrigue. Where is he? He's obviously...
What if Roman's the favor and costs Seth the match, and Seth and Roman are fighting at WrestleMania?
Why would he care about that match on Raw? If Roman was the favor, then why wouldn't he have called him in for the chamber to protect him or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
So, but
who knows what we'll see.
I thought the segment was great. I mean, just like, I'm very observant. I try to be. So just like some things that I find strange about it is like I just saw like Rollins was just literally punching the security guards in the face, and the security guards aren't even attempting to stop it. So there's like 5 of them in a row,
Yeah.
and they're just like
They're not fighting
waiting
back.
to get hit. And then it's also like, it's kind of like I feel like it's the same we were talking about with the F-bomb earlier. Like attacking security needs to be used in the right way. And I feel like lately now I'm just seeing people lay out security all the time. It's just like, well, then why would anyone ever take that job? You're just going to get your ass kicked every week by somebody. So like, I just little tiny things like that. I thought the opening segment was awesome. Obviously the highlight of the show. If I'd been booking it, I would have done that as the main event. But obviously they wanted to promote the cage match the whole show. Well, actually, not the whole show, because usually in the past they'd have an immediate follow-up in the back to the opening segment, but that follow-up was like an hour later.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of interesting, and I liked that they did that. That it was still like there seemed like there was just chaos backstage throughout the whole first hour of the show, which is kind of cool.
So, I mean, I liked it. I'm continue to be intrigued. Obviously, I won't. Last night I turned it off at 10 o'clock. I was ready for bed. I got to get my sleep in for my 6:45 alarm the next morning. But like, I'm not going to bed. But Punk and Seth are on. I hope they open Raw now. The idea of the main event is gone now. It doesn't really matter what's last. I guess it's like I would almost rather the main event be on first, so I don't have to watch the rest of the show.
So you don't have to fast forward as much.
Yeah, fast forwarding's brutal. You got to give yourself at least an hour and a half buffer before. So I tried to start watching around like 9:30. Otherwise, because there's just so much to fast forward through. And sometimes you fast forward like 10 minutes and it's just like Michael Cole talking, and then 10 minutes later it's just like still Michael Cole talking.
Yeah, those shots showing the arena and like I guess the talking about the show coming up are like 10 minutes long. It's quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, they continued the momentum off of that, obviously, because right after that, our boy Gunther was out, and he was hilarious. One of his makes a clown out of themselves to entertain a degenerate audience. He's so good. And then taking the cheap shot while he was like distracting Otis, and just like his boots look so good. He just looks like he's just destroying people with those kicks to the face. They look devastating. And he gave like 8 in that match.
Yeah. But do you feel like it shouldn't be Alpha Academy here? I just don't understand.
I do feel that.
Like this, kind of turns me off of the whole segment. Like I really want to watch. I really want to be invested in Gunther's segments, but as soon as you put the Alpha Academy in there, I'm just not. No interest in it. I know he had something last week with Tawazaka, and then this week it's Otis, but I did not really care. I pretty much watched the promo and then fast forward the match.
Yeah, that's lined up with me too. So I actually did watch the match because it was Gunther, and I just wanted to watch it. But I had several similar notes, like, what is this faction? Who are Tozawa and Francine? I was just like, this is what happened to the Alpha Academy under Chad Gable. It was just, I think I saw him in a commercial. That was it. It just feels very Vincey, this whole thing. And the match was awful because too many pauses in the match while Otis paced around. The exchanging of chops looks terrible and looked clearly choreographed. Otis, I felt like, was getting way too much offense on Gunther.
I agree. That's ridiculous. This is your heavyweight champion going into Mania, and you're giving Otis offense in this match?
You give him some, but not that much. And then also, just like to your point earlier, like, what? Like, this guy is a clown. You got to keep the clown in the clown segments. So the worm that turns into an elbow is his move. Like, he literally didn't even hit an elbow. You said you fast forwarded it. He did the worm and then just like fell over. And then they tried to make up for it in the like, I don't even know how to do. He did the worm, and then he didn't even get up to give the elbow. He got like to his knees and then just fell. And they like said that it was an elbow, but it was awful. And then I wrote literally, this was one of the worst Gunther matches I've ever seen from both just a pure wrestling perspective and the actual story behind it.
It's a bit strange that, Jay and Gunther have a match at WrestleMania, and they're both kind of involved in different feuds right now.
Well, who is Jay feuding with? I keep forgetting.
Grayson Waller.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like them, actually. A-Town Down Under. I always have. I think they could both talk, and I like their gimmick. I wish they were tag champs. They were for a little bit, but they're like a team I can get behind. And next week, Mysterio and is it Ray Phoenix, another mask guy against
No,
New
Ray
Day? I'm
Phoenix has
excited
not
for that.
debuted yet.
I'm excited for that match too. Well, whoever the other luchador is that Mysterio is, that's another match I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. I guess what I'm trying to say is they have Gunther and Jay in these segments that aren't, building towards their feud at Mania. Do they need these, or could they just give these guys a week off here and there?
They have no one else on the show. If there wasn't on the show, I would have stopped watching after the first segment.
Well, put Braun Breaker in an actual match instead of a segment with Finn Balor, or there's other people that we have interest in. Put a video of John Cena talking or The Rock talking, anything. Maybe not that. But there's guys that can wrestle. They could put AJ in a match on the show. They just need to stagger these guys a bit.
It was agreed, and it was so predictable. Like the post-match beatdown, and then another run-in, and just felt so predictable. And I hate to say it because I get the momentum, and he's so big, but man, Jay really can't wrestle. His spears look so soft. If you compare his spear to Braun Breaker's, it's absurd.
Well, Braun Breaker's in a class of his own in terms of making things look good. He's just so fast and huge, man. I mean, a better comparison would be Jay's spear to Edge's spear.
I guess, yeah. And I thought Theory and Waller were on SmackDown. Did they have a draft or something that I didn't know about or didn't follow?
You ask that every week when they don't respect the rules of
everyone's on
show.
every show, which is fine. I'm okay with that. They should be building the shows out based on what the stories are, but it's still just confusing. And I was very surprised they didn't have Rock or Cena on this show to carry the momentum from Elimination Chamber, because you'd think that they would have got a really big number if they had promoted that on, say, Sunday.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of expected them to be on the show, or somebody to be on the show from that segment yesterday. And I imagine a lot of people did. And they probably had people wondering, where's Cody, or where's Rock, or where's Cena? Where's one of the people from this segment?
And they said they just advertised, we'll be reviewing this. We've already all reviewed it on our own. We don't need
we
to
watched
see it on Raw.
5 times.
This isn't the year 2000. We have access to everything. We don't need a recap from the pay-per-view. We know what happened.
Exactly.
It was crazy, though, when I was watching that happen. I can't believe that it wasn't that long ago that Austin Theory beat John Cena in a match at WrestleMania. And now Austin Theory is the henchman for Grayson Waller, and Cena's in the main event.
You know what's funny? If Vince never lost power of this company, Austin Theory could be the guy in the main events that we're watching now. It seemed like he was Vince's guy. And now he's lower card. It's such a funny world. In an alternate universe, it's going to be Austin Theory and Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. That's what's happening.
Well, what starts to happen too is you go through, and I agree with that. But when you go through all the scenarios of what's going on, you start, like you said, you start to get a bit worried. And I know we're talking about Raw, but now I'm a bit worried about what's Drew's match going to be? Drew versus Damian. Kidding me? That's another shitty one. They're not putting the right people together. Jey Uso is a B player. Damian Priest is a C player. Whereas Gunther and Drew McIntyre are A players. They need to be in A matches. It's not, I think, at least.
And it was a bit, when Drew was eliminated first in Elimination Chamber, I just felt like that was almost the nail in the coffin for him just getting pushed down to become a B player.
I thought it was going to be him and Cody, to be honest. But obviously, I'm happy with the direction that they're going. Did you watch any of the Finn Braun promo segment?
No.
It was again, it's just what are they doing with Finn? I just don't get it. We have Braun. Everyone would be excited about him. He could have any sort of challenges. And so we talked about this last week too. So I guess Braun is a face now, because he's feuding with the Judgment Day. Is this just a natural transition? Because it also doesn't make sense, because if you go back, wasn't that long ago. I think it was maybe even in like October, November, when Jey Uso beat Braun for the Intercontinental title, and then Braun faked a face turn for a week, just to attack him again the following week before he got the title back. So that this whole thing is just like, I'm so confused by the booking. I'm just like, I'm starting to get annoyed with the forced use of these shitty not shitty, I shouldn't say that, but like they're not doing enough to protect this special talent that they have. And I can only name a few of them on my hand, like Roman, Punk, Drew, Gunther, and like a lot of these things, a lot of these guys, and I think Braun is one of them. They're just getting paired with these just like average whoever, and that just doesn't feel very WrestleMania to.
Yeah, because you know the outcome too. They're never going to put Finn over Braun at WrestleMania.
I don't know anything anymore.
I
Anything
guess
could
so.
happen.
And I've talked about this as well. I'm disappointed that they for some reason dropped the feud between AJ and Braun. I thought that was
Or
going
have they?
somewhere.
I don't
Or
know.
have they? Maybe they'll pick it up. Here's what I'm thinking happens. Here's what I'm hoping happens. I'm hoping that AJ calls out Logan next week, and then the following week they have a match on Raw. Logan wins because Braun interferes, and then that leads to the Braun AJ match at Mania. That's what I'm hoping happens. And then, Logan can go do something else. I don't want to see AJ and Logan at WrestleMania, and I don't want to see Braun and
I
Finn
wouldn't
at
hate that.
WrestleMania.
I don't want to
hate
see
that.
Braun and Finn either. I'd be okay with Logan and AJ. I feel like that'd be a really good match.
It could be interesting, but they're both not great on the mic. So I don't know how they would build the match in an interesting way without just physicality is the only way to build.
I think you and I are very alone in our thoughts on Logan not being
Paul?
good on the mic. I read some stuff online and listened to a couple podcasts where people were praising his work as a heel because it's like this natural transition of being a real life douche, which is not what I see. So I've listened to a little bit of his podcast. He doesn't seem like a douche to me. That's just a little bit of what I read. People thinking that he's actually quite good on the mic.
Also, sorry, I keep going back to Elimination Chamber. When he was in the pod writing on the Chamber, I'm pretty sure that he wrote like Trump on the Chamber.
Did he?
Yeah, and then the announcers said, "Oh, he's writing OVO and humble," but like I'm pretty sure I saw like Trump written in there, and they just didn't want to say it for whatever reason. I thought that was kind of
Get more heat.
Yeah,
He knew he'd get heat with the Canadian audience.
Totally, yeah.
But I mean, so that's all that I watched. After that, I wanted to comment as well. The belly to belly that Braun gave to Dom on the outside was super cool, and anything that Braun does is great. And then they seem to have like what you were talking about is like these mini feuds because it's important now, I guess, to have announced matches. Like it used to be, you just watch Raw, whatever happened. But now there's like 3 or 4 announced matches. So it's like they have these kind of mini feuds. So what Braun's doing right now might not be anywhere near reflective of what he's doing in Mania, because maybe his Mania build-up is only 2 or 3 weeks.
Right. Yeah.
And now he's just involved in this. Maybe he fights Finn next week, and then it's a triple beatdown, and then the week after that, it's a 3-on-1 or something like that. I'm not sure. But that's what makes you wonder. It's just like, is Rhea, because we're getting to the main event, which neither of us watched. Did you watch it?
I watched a little bit of it.
What did you think?
I love Rhea, but and I'm kind of interested in Io Sky, but I also don't know her character or anything yet. I was shocked that she went over. I think the setup was kind of interesting. It's something unique how they did it, where it just seemed Rhea was so distracted with Bianca Belair on the outside and like trash talking her. I thought that was kind of cool because it was realistic of someone being more distracted on what's happening outside the ring and a good reason to lose. I just don't know why now. Why would they take the belt off Rhea right now for Mania? And she like just won it as well. It's just, I don't know. It was a
in
shock ending
December
for
she
sure.
won it though, right? From Liv Morgan, I think.
No, wasn't it the debut episode of Raw?
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
So again, not that long ago. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand, man, why they would do this. There's got to be a reason behind it. It just doesn't seem like that's the match they want to push for the women's like main event at WrestleMania.
And it's on the other side is Tiffany Stratton, who I also know nothing about. She's fighting Charlotte because I didn't see that on the WrestleMania website when I looked earlier. Charlotte won the Rumble, right? Like, is
Yeah.
she still getting a title shot?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I might have to watch SmackDown this week. I got a lot of questions about what's going on over there. Plus, I missed Jacob Fatu. If Roman wasn't on, like Roman should be the reason to watch SmackDown, and now it's kind of like Roman's not there, and it's just like I guess I don't know. I'm looking again for more star power headed into Mania, but like talking about Raw, like I mentioned, and then go over them now. There's like the New Day against Ray and can't remember the name of the other guy. Cena. He fought Santos Escobar at Survivor Series 2023. Anyway, there's that match. There's Grayson Waller versus Jey Uso, which I'm also into. There's the cage match, and then Logan Paul and AJ Styles segment. Also, like those are 4 things I'm excited to see. I'm very curious to hear what happens to Rhea and where they go with her. Less interested in than Bianca Belair or Io Sky. And I just have this feeling that Roman's coming back. I think he's coming back on Raw. Netflix is so starved for star power. It just, something doesn't make any sense. And again, I'm doubling down. I think Roman and Seth have already formed an alliance, and something is going to happen in that cage, and the Roman is going to be there.
Guess we'll see. I'm extremely interested in next week's main event and a few other segments, more so than, well, this week I was excited because of the fallout I was looking for, but next week the announced segments that they have look really cool, so we'll see what happens, I guess.
Are you going to try to catch some SmackDown?
I will try. If I have some extra time, I'll try to catch SmackDown.
I'm going to be doing even more fast forwarding than here. I just like I'm trying to even think like I'm into Drew, I'm into Jacob Fatu, but they have to be feuding with someone of relevance. Like and I was reading a little bit that like there might be some tension brewing between Solo and Fatu. Maybe they're going to have a match at Mania, and that sounds super cool because I haven't heard much about Solo since he lost to Roman. I know didn't he just come back and attack Cody not that long ago? So
I have no idea.
I feel like there's still,
when you don't watch.
Yeah, there were so many loose ends. It's tough to follow because everyone's in like 5 different stories, and you have no idea which story is going to materialize into a match at Mania, which is what obviously everyone's looking forward to. And they have 2 nights, so they have so many matches. And normally they only have 4 or 5 matches announced per pay-per-view, but I think Mania gets even more because it starts at 7, right? And then it usually goes to like 11:30. They're like 2 4.5 hour nights.
They usually have the full card known before time, right? The day of, at least, every match.
I think like much earlier than that usually. Yeah. I think we'll see it form here in the next couple of weeks. You'd think.
Well, they have 47 days, so it's not like right at the beginning of April. They still have over like a month and a half.
Yeah. I just like, again, I'm wondering, are they actually going to put together the best possible card for people and for the fans? Or are they just going to do this thing where they're just going to try to put more people over for more future business by just pairing top stars with B-level stars and not giving us, only giving us one, like Cena Cody is an A-list match. Everything else we're really talking about isn't really, unless you're going to get Punk Roman. Punk Seth is not an A-list match.
That's a Raw main event.
Yeah. Well, or pay-per-view main event.
Or pay-per-view main event.
Roman
Punk, at this point, they've done
Roman
it.
Punk is huge. That's big enough to headline with no title. And maybe that's how Punk gets to so I don't know. Something is off. So I mean, I'm interested to see where they go, but they got to start getting places soon like they did with Cena. And like Raw just left me again with more questions and answers, which is fine. It's only March 4th, but it'd be nice to kind of know what direction they're headed in here.
I think they'll do a much better job building from here on out towards Mania. We'll know in about 2 or 3 weeks where things sit. If we don't know, then I think then there's problems. Then they're not building properly.
Yeah. And also we talked about how annoying it would be if The Rock doesn't wrestle, but now it kind of is like, I'm okay with it. if this is where they're going, and like Cena now works for The Rock, and this is kind of all part of it, and maybe he's just not in shape to wrestle, and I don't know, maybe they'll line up for something at SummerSlam, because that's two nights now this year. And maybe they're just like, hey, we're putting too much emphasis on Mania. Like, we need SummerSlam to be huge. Like, we need The Rock to wrestle there. And maybe they'll plan like a big tag match or something for that night. Yeah, I mean, I think Stone Cold's coming back. I think Roman's getting involved in that cage match, and I can't wait for both of those things to happen.
Awesome. Well, let's call it.
Let's do it. Is there a Saturday night's main event in between now and WrestleMania?
I have no idea.
Feels like they could have a good one to help build some of the feuds. We'll have to see. But yeah, let's call it. Another great podcast. Interested to hear what our fans think of the Cena heel turn and the directions we're headed in Mania, and what possible matches could be at play.
All right. Thanks, everyone. See ya.
See you guys.